All right, week number 3, we're gonna get more dynamic with that half swing motion now. So we're gonna start to add a little bit more body motion to it, add a little more speed. Week 1 and 2, we slowed things down on purpose to really educate how our hands attach to this handle and start to understand how they need to start moving this club in space to be able to control the head. We're holding one end of the club, but to control the other. So it's really important we slow things down initially to learn that. But now we're gonna start adding speed and start understanding how we use our footwork, how we use our body, start creating that speed, but still maintain that control that we have over the golf club. Okay, dynamic half swings. Add a little speed to this half swing motion, start to use our body a little bit more, get them a little more athletic with this. Start to hit the ball harder, but we're gonna have still the same goal that we had week 1 and week 2. We're trying to hit the ground left of the golf ball for a right-handed golfer, in front of the golf ball always. So on the front side. This would be behind the golf ball, this would be in front. We're still working on that technique, that skill, that feeling of how we can get the club head to strike the ground on the front side of the golf ball. So the first thing we're gonna do is start to warm that up. Start to do it slow pace first, do some trail arm only swings, feel that. Start to put it back in the lead hand. Again, 2 hands on it. Then start to ramp up the speed. I start to feel how I step into my trail leg a little bit harder going back, how I start to shift that pressure back to the lead leg a little more aggressively going through, and all that helps me get a little more speed into this little arm swing that I will started creating. So if I start to lose it, I'll slow it down, get it back under control, and then start to speed it back up, trying to get that same result. Trying to hit that grass to the front side of the golf ball, but trying to feel now how I can pump a little more energy within that same model, same idea, get the same result, which is a little more speed. I start to lose it, slow it back down. Then once you get it under control, speed it back up. Really important once we start hitting a lot of shots that we always have a secondary target and our primary target in our mind. We're moving this club off the ball and returning it, everything in relation to that target. So we need those targets in our mind and fresh in our mind when we start to hit shots. Maybe we're not taking practice swings so much, it's not as important. We can just really work on the motion itself and the skill we're trying to work on. But once we have the golf ball back into play, I want you always associating where's my target, what's my secondary target, which way am I going? Because again, now let's hit some shots, and this is how I want you to get your reps. Again, at least 1 or 2 practice swings first using the golf ball as a reference point. So you're gonna set up to the golf ball like you normally would, recreate the ball position you normally would, pull that club back 3, 4, 5 inches away from the golf ball where it's at an equal distant point that it would be if it was behind the ball, but you're far enough away where you're not gonna hit it. But you're still close enough that you can see it out of your eye line. So now I'm gonna use where that golf ball is, almost the imaginary line where that golf ball would be if it was behind my club, as a reference point of where I'm hitting the ground relative to that point. So I wanna make sure I take at least 1 or 2 good practice swings, feeling that I'm striking the ground where I want to and how I want to before I set up and hit the shot. So I've associated myself with my secondary target, I've taken my practice swings, I get a good feel for what I wanna do. And I'm just gonna sit here and hit little shots, getting my low point in front, catching it solid, just feeling within that same little half swing motion, I'm just adding a little more speed. Set up to the golf ball, pull the club back, take at least 1 or 2 good practice swings, feeling the motion I'm looking for. Set up to my target, keep that target in mind. It's fresh in my mind as I go back, same little motion. I really love this combination of a short arm swing but a dynamic body motion for my new golfers because it starts to get their hips and their footwork to speed up a little bit. Most new golfers, they almost get to the top and they're more upper body dominant. Their footwork and their hips are working too slow. So this is almost going to train you almost how to work too fast to a point, how to get your body almost too dynamic in this short little arm swing. But I think that's a good thing. Again, we can always add a little more length to this. We can always add a little more time, less effort, and get to where we want to be. So training this almost on the extreme version to start with is a great way to get your body to kind of wake up a little bit and feel how dynamic it needs to feel to actually move the club at these higher speeds the way we need to. But at the same time, I'm still working on educating my arm swing and how the club moves back and what angle I start to pull the club through and where I'm trying to hit the ground relative to the ball. So I'm still educating my hands, but starting to incorporate my body a little bit more within that education. So I'm putting those together. I'm using my hands and moving the club the way I want to in space, but I'm now starting to use my body a little bit more to help me speed that process up. So work on this. Let me know if you have any questions. Hit me up in the comments. And then from there, we're going to work to week 3. 3/4 swings. Starts adding more length to it. This is where we're going to start to work the longer clubs, longer shots. Gets a little more interesting. Start to talk a little bit more about your body motion. Have to get a little more conscious about what your body's doing. But again, still trying to keep things as simplistic as possible and still trying to maintain awareness of the golf club even when we start adding speed. See you next week.